Hi guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today on the podcast we have Joanna Teplin and Clea Shearer from The Home Edit, from Get Organized with The Home Edit on Netflix, and their latest project is a podcast that they co-host called Best Friend Energy. It's a really fun listen. They have some great guests on. They've had Danny Pellegrino, they've had Lauren Conrad, they've had Sumner, who if you watch the show, you'll recognize her as sort of their right-hand woman. They're such a fun duo, and they really feed off of one another. They really have that best friend energy that their podcast tells you. We talked about the business, we talked about the show, about the podcast and sort of what their approach is to that. And then we kind of went off on different tangents, which is kind of what they do on their own podcast. We talked about Bethany Frankel and the Housewives for 5 minutes, which is unexpected, but great, obviously, as you know me. They're just a great duo, and Clea is also battling breast cancer. She's in radiation treatment now. I got an update there, and she seems to be doing well and fighting through it, and she's put on such a brave face throughout this whole diagnosis and treatment, and she's made it about more than just herself, which I really, really admire and appreciate. We kind of touch on everything, and they're just such a fun, great duo and so gracious with their time. So yeah, keep listening to my interview with Clea Shearer and Joanna Teplin from The Home Edit, and listen to their new podcast, Best Friend Energy, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks, guys. All right, so we're here with Clea Shearer and Joanna Teplin from The Home Edit. You'll recognize them from the Netflix show Get Organized and their most recent endeavor, which is their podcast, Best Friend Energy. I highly recommend listening. Thank you for being here, you guys. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us.
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So I have to start off right about, I went to high school with your first employee, Sumner. Sumner and I
gosh, really?
Yes, Sumner and I we're good friends from high school. So
wow, we could spend the whole 30 minutes talking about Sumner Canfield.
I that's the vibe I get from you guys, that she means that much to you, and I love seeing it. It's so fun to watch.
She is the best, truly, the heart and soul of our business.
Yes.
So we have team trivia sometimes that we do, and one of Sumner's was, I think she got sent to the dean every week or something. I can't remember. She got in trouble. She was in detention every week. That she got in trouble all the time.
Oh yeah, I think she was late. I mean, she was. But she's just Sumner, and I think that she's it's been so fun for me to watch her just come into her own and become a Netflix star. It's just been surreal. And I had her on my show around season 2. I think it was her first ever interview, and it was just a fun full circle moment for us. So I had to get that out there before we started.
I love that. We love that so much.
And then also, Clea, I just wanted to check in. How are you doing? I know that, congratulations on finishing chemo earlier this fall. And I think you started radiation recently. How are you doing? How are you holding up? And how's it going?
Well, it's going.
Okay.
It is yes. I am tired, but other than that, I'm feeling really good. I only have 11 sessions left of radiation. So I will be done November 22nd, which is soon. Right before Thanksgiving. It's right around the corner, and it's so close. I can taste it.
Oh, that's amazing. And cancer's impacted my family. My brother had cancer 15 years ago. And so I know part of that struggle, and it impacts everyone around you. But it's been so nice watching your whole community rally around you and how relentlessly positive you've been. And I just wanted to say you've been an inspiration to a lot of people, and it's been really amazing to watch. It really has. And it can't be easy to put on that brave face.
Well, sharing my story has truly been very humbling. It's been the honor of my lifetime. And it's really, I think, going to shape and change the way I live my life forever. So I think that, and having the support of all of my online friends, my real life friends, my, community around me, it's just been really incredible. I don't recommend it to anyone. I'm not trying to be go out there and see what it's like, but it's really, really been a very special time with honestly a lot of silver linings. So
and that piece on today's show that you did recently with Hoda was incredible. It was so beautiful. Oh my God, it really brought a tear to my eye. Joanna, I was wondering if you could just speak a little bit just to watching her go through this and be so relentlessly positive and brave and making it about more than just herself. If you can just speak to seeing that, and because it must be incredible for you to see as well.
It beyond incredible. I am so in utter amazement of Clea daily. It never ceases to amaze me. Honestly, she's a pillar of strength, but she's also so honest, so real. so, authentic with what she's going through. And it's pure bravery and selflessness, honestly, the way that she's sharing her story. And it's just incredible.
Joanna's been the best. What you didn't see when I was talking to Hoda is Joanna in the corner of the room. She came for emotional support, just weeping.
How could you not be? How could you not be?
I was just, hysterical. Yeah. I'm just so proud. The words that I could give can't even describe how I feel about her, how she's handled all of this.
Well, that's what we call best friend energy right there. The support, but the support between you two, that's a perfect title for your podcast. And I've really been enjoying the first several episodes you've released. You've had great guests on. Sumner was one of your guests.
Yes.
We had Danny Pellegrino on there. Lauren Conrad was on there. You've had some really fun guests. And something that I love about it is that, and I'm presuming this is sort of what you were going for, which is like, it really does feel like you're listening to friends having a conversation. Like you go off on these random tangents about things you probably weren't planning on talking about, but we love hearing it anyway. And I'm assuming that's the vibe you were going for with your podcast.
That's the only vibe we have, honestly, is just to be who we are and like take the road that we end up down,
Right. Like we go down a rabbit hole, everyone's going down a rabbit hole with us, we want it to feel like we're all a community of friends, right? And everyone's listening to each other. You might be, in on the joke, you might be new to the joke, but we're all laughing together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's an extra subscription episode each week, right?
That's right.
What do you guys talk about in those episodes? Is that even more of that stuff? Like just kind of like whatever's on your mind?
So it's called Best Friend Energy Unpacked, and it's bonus content. So it's like, the extra content that, all the stories we like couldn't get to.
We have a lot of extra stories, and we really are excited to share it with our listeners.
And we have some fun segments too. Like we introduced a new segment on the episode that just launched this week. And it's called Notorious BFE, which is where we educate each other on like a great friendship of like all time.
A famous friendship.
Like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg, like things like that. So like really do a deep dive, give each other like all the facts, the rundown, and then
discuss it from there.
And then we just chit chat about it.
Yeah.
It's been really fun.
Yeah.
And
Unpacked is really fun too, because we have more time to just like get really in there.
Right. It's like not quite as like regimented with segments and all that kind of stuff. We can just kind of run with it.
Definitely. And I noticed, I've watched both seasons of Get Organized, and I noticed in the second season, there was definitely more of you two kind of outside of the business, element. Like you were with your kids more. We saw you with your partners more. Was that a learning from the first season that like people have really latched onto you two as just people beyond just being businesswomen, but also just as mothers and as friends and your personality? Like, I feel like that must have been something that you saw happening.
It definitely was a key takeaway from season 1 that people were, yes, invested in the organizing, but they were really invested in the two of us. Mm-hmm. And as friends, as moms, as wives, as business partners, as travel
people just fumbling through their life,
right? All of our kind of antics, all the things that make up our life. I think that everyone wanted to see more of that. We brought them in cameras into our house and let it happen.
Yeah.
And is that sort of is the podcast sort of a direct response to that as well, to kind of give people more of that?
That's right.
That's exactly right. And, we saw it a lot with Instagram stories, the difference between the feed versus stories in terms of how people engage with the content and what the appetite really is. And whenever it's something that is personal, it just resonates so much more. And I think a podcast is probably the most like intimate of media forms. It's something that's so close and personal, and you do feel like you're just in the same room with someone,
right? Or they're just talking just to you,
right?
I mean, at least I feel like when I listen to a podcast,
it feels very
100%.
personal. And we really wanted to bring, the two of us, for better or worse, into everyone's AirPods, and to just have a laugh with your friends every week,
right? Something lighthearted,
and that it must be kind of surreal to you too, because I feel like the growth of your business has been just astronomical, but this must be kind of just a fun almost side effect of the fact that your business has been so successful, that you guys can connect with people in this deeper way. Like, was that something you ever imagined in those first several years of the Home Edit?
No, I mean, not even in the least. We started as organizers, and like organizing stuff in closets and under kitchen sinks. And so to have this like ancillary isn't quite the right word anymore, but I mean, just unexpected twist in our business has just been the shock of a lifetime. Honestly.
We never thought anyone would care about us.
No, we have ridiculous stories, and we were just like tell each other, and we couldn't believe that anyone else would want to hear those stories.
Like, who knew? But here we are. So here we sit.
I think there's a relatability aspect to both of you and what that brings to also your brand, that it's you can't manufacture it at all. It's because you two are genuinely so close. I think that you've seen people try to manufacture that. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean? And
I agree with that. I think, you can't fake it.
No,
I just don't.
No. Well, and especially we're not actors. I mean, we're clearly not actors. And so we definitely couldn't have faked it if it was trying to be faked.
And I think that because we have such a high tolerance for being around each other all the time in tiny spaces.
Yes.
Remember, we got our start in standing
literally like on top of each other. Exactly.
On top of each other. We've spent so much time together. And I think that our friendship has allowed this business to exist. And if we didn't have that foundation, it would have never worked. It wouldn't have worked.
And how much of, Best Brand Energy being a podcast is an extension of the Home Edit brand. And this has all kind of come after the Hello Sunshine acquisition of everything. Is this also a direct kind of effect of that? Or how has Hello Sunshine's involvement in the Home Edit been able to expand the brand?
Honestly, it was the perfect marriage and partnership for us. They've stepped in and absolutely amplified everything we've already started and basically poured gasoline on the fire.
Yeah. I mean, the podcast is something that we've always wanted to do. We've wanted to do it for years. And it was just about finding the right time and carving out the right amount of time. So I think, Hello Sunshine has been able to kind of step in, like Joanna said, and allow all of the different platforms that we have to be amplified that much more, and just like take things to the next level. They have such an incredible creative team and strategic team, creative and strategy, to really understand where a business should be in 5 years, all the things that we want to build, all the different, again, like pieces of our company. We have everything from our media arm to our licensing arm to, social content. So it's been just a really great partnership.
Yeah, it really seems like that. It's been fun to watch it flourish and grow to new levels. How often do you guys talk to Reese Witherspoon? How often is that happening?
I mean, pretty often.
Yeah, she's a really involved person in this company.
Yeah, that's what it seems.
Hello Sunshine. She's really hands-on, and she's just such an incredible inspiration to us and mentor to us.
And she's a great friend.
Yeah. So she's incredible.
Yeah, she's really just amazing. When people are like, what's Reese really like? I'm like, what Reese is really like, because she is so authentically who she is. She is sunshine. She is like a ray of
brilliant sunshine.
Yeah, just a ray of light wherever she goes. So talk about lucky. It's like a real pinch me situation. So
I'm sure
very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting about, again, watching the Home Edit grow, and especially since the show had premiered a couple of years ago, there is this kind of intrinsic tie-in with celebrity, because each episode has a celebrity client that you guys work with. And I think there's that appeal, but then there's also the flip side of that is then every episode also has, a regular client. And that probably helps make them feel sort of like a celebrity, because their home has this element of like, oh, my pantry looks like Khloe Kardashian's pantry, or you know what I mean? And it has that aspect of the business. I feel like you lean in, but not as if it's kind of, I don't know. It feels authentic as those are your clients, but how does that impact everything?
Well, I'll say this first. We always, celebrity or not, we treat all of our clients the same way. We're
totally.
We gotta get in there and edit. I'm sorry, Rachel Zoe, but we're gonna have to do the same thing we do with you that we did with any other.
I was about to say, I think that the regular person might feel like a celebrity, but I think the celebrity starts to feel like a regular person.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
They get no special treatment. We have to give tough love to everyone. And it's kind of nice. Organizing is the unifier for everything. It kind of democratizes all things. And at the end of the day, we have a job to do. I don't care who you are. We got to get to it. And we're going to we're going to get in there, whether you're a celebrity
That's
or
right.
not.
That's exactly right.
But do you feel like that kind of connection has helped the business? Like I'm sure at least even just from an awareness perspective is like they have some big platforms, people you work with.
Oh,
yes,
100%.
Absolutely. Each one of them has played a hand in our growth.
And it helped very early on in our business. We started our company in August of 2015. And in October, I said to Joanna, I think we should take a week. Let's go to LA and let's offer our services to, there were a handful of celebrities that I just knew from, I grew up in Los Angeles. So they're my friends, and let's get them to do an exchange for a social post. And that really started to put us on the map really early. A lot of people ask, like, what was that early momentum that you had? And that was honestly a key moment for us to just have visibility and to be recognized as, you know what it means when celebrities kind of endorse you and like give a stamp of approval. Like all of a sudden, you
are put on the map in a new way.
Right. Like you're put on the map. And we had a lot of great social content to work with at that point. And back in 2015, other organizing companies really weren't using Instagram and social media in a way that would boost their business, much like an interior designer would or something. So we kind of, pivoted, used Instagram, used our celebrity connections, and, celebrities grow celebrities. So all of a sudden it's like new people were reaching out to us that we didn't know because they saw it online, and, it kind of snowballed from there.
Ripple effect. Yeah, it's so smart. And Joanna, it's funny because, Clea has mentioned several times on Best Friend Energy that you aren't super well versed in pop culture, at least like up to date on like current pop culture stuff. Is that just from a lack of interest or lack of time? What is that?
No, that's a really interesting question that I've never been asked actually before. I think I only have so much bandwidth. Clea has an Energizer Bunny amount of bandwidth in her body and energy also. And I'm like, I only have bandwidth for X amount of like best friends. I only have X amount of energy for like creative thoughts. I only have, so in my mind, I'm like, I don't have time for some of that. Not to say that it's not fun and important, because it is. And there are pieces that I really love and get sucked into. I love the Housewives. So it's not that I'm above it in any capacity. I'm not sitting on some soapbox that I'm above it. I'm just delayed, and I need somebody to endorse it first. And then I'm like, oh yeah.
You know what she loves? She loves the bite-sized nuggets that I feed her.
But yes.
Sure.
It's like she is interested in all the stuff, but like she doesn't have time to go on like the don't worry darling TikTok.
Right.
Like I have to do that work.
Yeah. And then you break it down.
Yeah. I have a curated
Listen. Yes. Everyone plays their different roles,
That's right. Yeah. I'm like sometimes a week behind and sometimes like 5 years behind on trends. But here we are sitting together.
Yeah. So I think again, it's like she does actually want to know the information.
I do.
And Joanna loves tea. Loves it.
Yeah.
That's why she loves the Housewives. But like I need to do the work for her.
It's
okay.
true. Okay. That's right.
I mean, okay, so I have a lot of Housewives on my show. I interview a lot of Housewives for work. Give me like, what's a high level Housewives opinion you have right now? Like what's something, did you watch Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
What Kathy or Rinna, do you have a side?
Gosh,
Kathy follows us.
She does? Well, then it's Kathy.
Okay. Let me check if Lisa Rinna
Good call.
I don't know.
No,
Kathy like comments. She's like
no, here's the thing though. I'm here for all of them. And I say that with the most love. None of them I think I'm just so interested. I think they're all so fascinating. And
Lisa Rinna.
Rinna. I'm fascinated with them. And I actually don't think that they put on I mean, I know some of it's an act and I understand like how TV works, but I think they just are who they are.
I think it's heightened reality. That's what I think it is. I think you're right. They're all themselves in some capacity. So
I know, and it's fascinating.
No, very much so.
It's hard for me to watch like loose reality shows right now because I know what the producer is telling them.
Sure. Like I'm like, oh, they had this party because they need to. I get it. Like I understand how
being on a show is ruined.
That was going to be my follow-up question to what you just said. It has that affects how you watch television now.
Yes, 100%. And I'm like, she already walked through the door 6 times, and this is
didn't get the right angle.
100%. So yes, that has ruined it. But with the Housewives, I still have that suspense of reality. Somehow I let that still go.
Totally.
And I believe that they really are these people.
You know what ruined it for me very, very early on into my tenure of watching reality TV? This was back when like The Hills were on. And John, my husband, is a photographer, and he has always worked since he was like 18 years old with MTV and in that kind of capacity. He knew Lauren Conrad way before we knew Lauren Conrad. And he came home one night with a script. It wasn't a script word for word.
Yeah.
But it was
script.
It was
an outline, right?
It was no more than an outline, less than a script, more than an outline. It was like words.
That's tough.
I was like, get it away from me. I was like, I don't like, why are you ruining my life right now? And he's like, I thought you knew. And I was like, you're just telling me now that Santa Claus isn't real. I was like, how? So anyway, but that was the first time that I was like, all of this is so staged.
I know, but they are who they are, which is what makes it magical.
You don't think that they poke and prod? And
of course, there's conversations are like, pick at this one. But I do think they have some authenticity to them. I do
agree. I saw on Twitter. So Bethany has like a new podcast.
a new rewatching the Housewives podcast.
Oh,
even though
really?
even though she said it's called Rewise. Even though she said like a million times publicly that she's never doesn't want to talk about it, whatever. Now she has a whole podcast that's going to be about that.
Now she has a whole podcast.
I can't wait to listen, honestly.
And I saw
me too.
Radswell was like, of course, Bethany's going to revert to what Bethany does best, which is like pick on the Housewives and like be mean. And I was like, I love like the Twitter beef to me is always real.
Totally. It's meta.
So I'm like, okay, I can mark who doesn't like each other. All right. So I have no skin in this, but I'm just curious how we all feel. I'm curious about Bethany specifically for a couple things. Okay. First of all, her TikTok. Do you follow her on TikTok or like see her videos?
I see samples of it. I've had to tap out of like the current day Bethany Frankel because I think she's one of the best housewives to ever do it. But like, but I think that her like post Housewives persona has been kind of tough for like a big fan of her.
Tough. So she has become a beauty reviewer.
Yes.
On TikTok.
Oh,
it's so weird to me.
Okay, I didn't know that was coming.
But she literally is like every single day she'll be like, she posts a whole review on lotions, on skin serums, on different makeup. It's like her whole persona is a beauty reviewer.
Why the housewife? She's such a good
No
housewife.
sense. It makes no sense to me.
Like she's such a good housewife.
It makes no sense. All of a sudden she'll come in with like a hot take on something.
I know, and she's funny. Like that is.
But here's my question.
And she's smart. Yeah,
she is smart. She's super successful. Do you think that every housewife? Do you think that they're all just jealous of her because she like sold her business to Sequin?
I think there's a huge element of that, and then Bravo now. This is like well known now, but like they have a Bethany clause in their contracts now. Yeah, so I think
has Bethany clauses every studio.
So there we go. It's her impact, I guess.
It's a case study. On every studio, whatever, they're like, oh, if you go and make a fortune from this show, like
we want part of it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I think that there's an element like she's kind of the blueprint for a lot of people and sort of what's possible. But I think that she was kind of a perfect storm of making that possible. Exactly.
She was. I mean, she was brilliant. Like, let's call it what it was. It was so smart.
Mm-hmm.
So we think everyone hates her.
I feel like I'm on best friend energy right now. We went on a tangent about Bethany Frankel for 10
know,
minutes, and I love that. I love it. I'm not complaining.
Can you be on? Like, or can we just have like a three-way, like a
this
show?
This is how it happens, right? This is I'm.
It genuinely is how it happens. I know. I'm like, who's interviewing who? I'll be quiet.
No, I love it. I'm not complaining. I can talk about Housewives for 10 hours in a row.
Hey,
we didn't get to talk to Danny enough about the Housewives.
I know.
I had residual questions, so I'm glad we could clear some of them.
I know, and I have a new podcast to listen to on the drive home, which is Bethany's.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Danny should have you guys on his podcast so you can really kind of dive in. Joanna, a question I had for you: why don't you have a personal Instagram or a public Instagram account? That's your own. Because I was like doing some research before this interview, and I was like, oh wait,
because I don't know how to use Instagram.
Yes.
I am not a social media maven, and I mean elementary even level.
Social media maven is a really, like, that's like not saying very, like, you are, when I met Joanna, she didn't really know what Instagram was.
I had like 2 pictures.
She had 3, and they were like,
weird.
You would die. Like, it was like a picture of like her office, okay? But it was like dark, backlit, one chair in a corner, like side of a desk. I was like, what is this photo about? And then
you had a vision.
just was, you don't touch it.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's not my thing. Honestly, I mean, I love it. Thank God for Clea and that she truly is the real maven and expert in the space. But I mean, I'm so grateful for this platform and it's been so incredible. But in my personal world, I have no one needs to, like, no one cares. Like how
I mean, I think people do care, but yeah, if you don't care about sharing that, then that's your prerogative. Totally.
I just don't feel like I'm that interesting. I'm really like,
you know what? It's also like it's like a task.
Yeah.
It's like another thing. And I mean, Joanna, again, like she needs to get caught up on the Housewives. Like she can't be like trying to figure out Instagram.
I like your priority right now. I like that.
Yeah, it's never important to me. I don't even take that many photos. I just like want to be in the moment with the people that I'm with. And I don't want to be thinking about like how to make something look a certain way.
Do you not even go on to like the home edit account? Like,
the home edit. I go on the home edit, but that's my work, and I'm
right. Okay, so it's sort of, that's how you think about it. Right.
But she's not allowed to comment, reply.
No, I don't like
DM.
No, it stresses me out.
She's not allowed to do any of that because, and every now and then we'll notice our follower count, like right now is at 240. And I like always have to keep it at either like a 5 or a 0 with the numbers. So like if I add 1 to 241, I now have to add 4 more.
4 more.
I mean, I'm a little
she's insane,
neurotic. And every now and then our follower count will drop to like 239. And I'm like, Joanna?
Yeah. Sometimes I have a fat finger and I like accidentally delete someone.
And I'm like, you just deleted Kris Jenner. So like we need to.
So I'm very careful when I go in there and I do it in the middle of the night when I'm like extra fat finger tired. So but no one needs, like
sometimes there's a fat finger follow.
Well, it's like when you pass your phone to your friend to show them the profile of somebody. You're like, don't like any of the photos, you know?
Yeah, right. Don't touch it.
Exactly. So so I'm like a little bit behind the scenes on this part, but yeah.
Hey, I love it.
I'm here for the business of it all. Love it.
Totally.
One of the funniest things ever in like our company history was the History Channel once reached out to us, which is like, should say it all right there, the History Channel. And it was addressed. Well, first of all, the subject line was like Joanna Teplin, tech expert.
Yeah.
And then the email was like, Dear Clea and Joanna, like moving Clea to copy. Joanna Teplin really displays incredible knowledge of technology, and we would like to have her on as a tech expert in this space.
As a tech expert.
And it was so funny because it wasn't like, they didn't confuse us. It wasn't like,
it was clearly for you, right?
Yeah. It was Dear Clea and Joanna. Thank you, Clea. So
moving
Joanna.
to Clea to BCC. Yeah, it was. We died. We still laugh about it all the time because
Joanna tech expert.
So hilarious.
It's so
add that to your resume, baby. I love it.
Yeah, totally. The History Channel.
But I love that only the History Channel
right
would think that she's a expert.
Truly. Oh my God.
Maybe so.
We're rewriting history here. Clea, on one of I think it was on the Lauren Conrad episode, Joanna uses the word like horticulturist or something like that to describe Lauren. And you say that you hate finding out new things about her that you didn't already know. Yes. And I'm curious if, and I understand that sort of mentality, but what is something kind of more substantial that either of you have learned about one another in the relatively recent past, like either through the podcast or something that you've sort of learned about the other that was unexpected?
Joanna has had 2 weddings. And she casually brought it up, like my first wedding. And I was like, you've been married before? And she's like, no, at like a courthouse. And I was like, okay, but you can't just drop.
Same husband. Yeah. We just got married before we had like an official wedding, but the way that I worded it, sometimes I'm not confusing. It was confusing.
There are just certain things that, you know, when you know someone so well and you're like, how am I just finding out about this?
Right. The cousin Rebecca. I don't know if you heard that episode, but I was like, what do you mean you have a cousin Rebecca?
She was mad that I guess I hadn't told her that she was like, but I have a cousin Rebecca. And I was like, well, we can both have cousin Rebeccas. Like if you're Jewish, like chances are you have a cousin Rebecca. And Joanna was pissed that I hadn't told her before. And the funny thing is I texted my cousin Rebecca to be like, you got to mention on the podcast. And Joanna also texted her cousin Rebecca. Mine was pretty aggrieved. She was pretty mad that she's like, Joanna didn't know that? Like she was like pissed in her own right.
That was something I learned, not about the podcast. I remember learning that she had a cousin Rebecca and I was pretty mad about it.
Hey, listen.
Every now and then it's just certain things.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that Joanna got really mad at me once she has a terrible sense of direction, but sometimes, I don't know, it's a lapse in judgment to follow her anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
And we were at an airport pretty early on in our friendship and we were there for work. I don't remember what we were doing. And I just was following her to baggage claim. She looked over at me and she was like, what are you doing? Are you following? And I said, well, I guess. And she's like, never do that again. Never do that again. So
wow.
Yeah. I was like, don't you know?
She's like, don't you know?
No, don't follow me. I have a terrible sense of direction.
Yeah. So anyway, I learned that one.
Hey, I love it. And it's kind of it's one of those things where it's like you've been in how many cars together on how many planes together and it's like, oh, but we've never gone through all my cousins' names, which like why would you have? Right. Okay.
Why I know. I was like, we need a family tree.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So best friend energy, who else can we expect to be? Is it going to be kind of seasons? Do we have like a first season of the show, or is it going to be kind of just continuing to go?
Yeah. You're with us for the long haul.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So who can we expect to be coming up? You probably don't want to tell me fully, but like I'm sure we have some exciting guests on the line.
So one of our really good friends, Mary Lawless Lee, she is, we just recorded with her yesterday. She has an account. She kind of rose to fame on Instagram as like one of the very first bloggers. So her blog, Happily Gray, turned into a big Instagram account. And now she has a book coming out next week, which is exciting.
Very exciting.
We are recording with Rachel Zoe right after this.
Yeah.
So
love Rachel Zoe.
I know,
very fun.
same.
We have so many fun people coming up.
It's really
Tan France from Queer Eye.
Fun.
Yeah, we're really lucky. We have really, really fun people to talk to.
Who else? The Foster sisters.
Love them too. They have a great podcast as well.
Yeah, they're so funny. So annoying to stand next to though. Like we every year we go to the same event in LA for Baby to Baby.
Oh yeah.
And every year we're like, we think it's a good idea to take a photo with them, and we look like trolls under a bridge, and they're just like literally in outfits that they're practically naked. They look incredible.
It's unbelievable.
It's annoying.
It's so unfair.
It's really annoying. Yeah, we have so many good people.
That's a good group. I love that.
Yeah.
And then lastly, do we know, is there going to be a third season of Get Organized? Do we know about the future of that show?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, I'm taking that as a yes. Thank God.
So we're really actually super lucky right now to be in a hiatus time because we can actually focus on the podcast, which is like a very fortunate,
very
situation.
That's fun. You can really sink your teeth into it, which is nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Clea and Joanna, this has been so much fun. I feel like I could talk to you guys for the full day, but it was so nice to meet you. Say hi to Sumner for me.
I will. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.